Everybody ready? Here we go. We have a program. As we go, we're going to have more and more programs with multiple files. So it's important to open the folder with VS Code, otherwise it won't know where the other file is. So I am going to put both my files in my Python folder. I mean, I should make another one, but I don't need to. I'm going to right click on Python. When I open that as a folder, Python, Visual Studio Code recognizes all these files and can find them because they're in the same folder. If you open up a single file and then add another file to it, it can't find it. Visual Studio Code can't find it. So we're going to create our initial file, which is what should we start with here? I can't remember what mine. We could start with rolling the dice, I suppose, first, because that's a module and all it does is roll the dice. So it's one of those rules of methods and functions and objects and all those sorts of things, is that your function or method or whatever does one thing really, really well, and that's all it does. And so that's what our die.py is going to be, is a really good method for rolling integers. It's going to, rolling a dice, it's going to return it, and that's all it's going to do. So let me get back to there it is. So I'm going to make a new file called die, die.py. Because a single die is a die and the plural of die is die. So that makes that easy, doesn't it? One of the things that we have started working with is from random. We have a random library in Python. It's not automatically part of the standard library. We have to import it, but it is built into Python. We don't have to install it. We have a random integer generating function, int, from random import. There we go. Let's do that the right way around. So now we have a module of code, because guess what? We're making a module. This is a module too. Everywhere we look, we're creating things that are exactly the way Python, people that write Python do it. So that gives us a random number generator. And in my assignment, I have a to-do. And it starts out by showing you how to define DEF. All it does is define something. It doesn't do anything at all. Nothing is executed. It says here is going to be a module called, a function called roll. When we call this function, we are going to return a random integer from 1 to 6, which is your typical 6-sided die. Could we return 1 to 12 or whatever? Sure, we can make as many die sides as we want. So I'm going to use randint. I'm going to store this in. I don't want to store it in roll as a variable because my function's named roll, and that could be confusing. So I might call it dice roll. Oh, that's right. Singular of dice. Die is dice, isn't it? Okay, I said that wrong. It's die. So what is dice? Dice is plural. Die is singular. Okay. Which die would be right because this is a singular dice. So my dice roll is going to be, does anybody know how to do this? Randint. And if you look up here, it tells us how to do it. Right there, beginning, end, includes both endpoints. So 1, 6 matches this. This is saying the first one should be an integer, comma, separates the other one. This means that it returns an integer, which I am storing in the variable dice roll. With built-in functions from Python, it gives you some help. So now we have a random number. We're not going to do anything with that random dice. We are going to return it. Return dice roll. And now we have a nice little function that does one thing really well, and that's all it does. It rolls a dice, we get a random dice, a random die, 1 through 6. And that's all we want it to do, period. That's it. If we want to display this dice, well, we're going to do it in our main program. This way we can use this function for a GUI program, we can use it for a web program, we can use it for an Android program. We can use the same exact code. We don't have to change it ever, which is part of the reason for doing functions. So you don't have to repeat yourself. Well, let's make a dice game. DICE, GAME.py, or whatever you want to call it. Oh, dice fame was not on purpose. Dice game. There we go. Whoops, there. Stick with our naming conventions. Now, one of the things that we've started to do is using a main function to define the starting point of our program. And then we have to call the main function to start the program. So definition doesn't do anything. It defines things. It says, here, Python, here's some code you could do something with. And all I want you to do is notice that it's there. And that's it. Nothing else. Well, we have to, oh, I'm not going to do the utils program. I'm just going to do this. Why do I have import DIC? Oh, it's DIE. I just can't quite read it, can I? Okay. I was thinking we weren't working with dictionaries, but I need to import die. That imports my module, right? Because there it is. Import die now means that this code is available in here as if it were in the program. Because when both load into memory, they are in the same program, because you have to copy everything from the long-term storage to temporary storage. Once it's in the temporary storage, it is all one program, no matter how many modules you have or separate files. It all becomes one program in memory, because temporary memory is the only place we can run and use a program. And I'm not going to worry about doing a loop or anything like that. But we do need to learn how to, oh, I actually give it to you. Well, geez, who did that? I gave you the answer here. Man, oh man. Okay, so we're going to have a player die. That's going to store my role. And to access our die method or our die module, we're saying die, the name of the module, and then we do dot role, which accesses the function. So die dot role, that's all we have to do. That's all we have to do. And it will return an integer, which we assign to player die. And each time around, we get a different integer. How cool is that? Very cool. I like it. Because now we have separated things, and I could make 150,000 different dice programs and still use the same module. How many times have you used this module from Python? It's the same module every time. We just use it again and again and again and again and again. So it's repeatable. We don't have to type in things more than once. We're learning how to be efficient. Less code is more elegant. And from this point on, it's a while loop. You need to terminate it somehow. You have to determine who wins, which would be an if else. Accumulate the number of rounds, print the results of the current round, make it a game. The only thing that's new in here is using a function from a module. That's the only thing that's new here. Otherwise, we've done these other things before, as well as cute ASCII art and that sort of thing. Questions? Is everybody good with the conceptual part of this? We'll be using this sort of ideas more and more. We'll be breaking our code out into chunks. And then we don't have to write everything 100 times. It also makes it easier to maintain. If I call die.roll 100 times and I want to change how it works, I change it in one place. If I want to have a 10-sided die, bam, I have a 10-sided die. Oh, that reminds me. Does anybody remember what the term constant means? What's a constant? The variable never changes. Variable never changes. So a better way to do this is actually to define, we'll just say die lower. We'll say the first die. I don't know if that's a good variable. And then we'll say die upper. equals 6. We replace these hard-coded numbers with our constants. Then we don't have to scurry through the code to find where to replace the numbers. We just replace them up here. I mean, this is not much code, but when you get to programs that are longer and longer, it's handy to have the pieces that you need to change right at the top so you can easily change it. So now I want to have a 12-sided dice. Now I have a 12-sided dice. I could have a 2-sided dice. I could have a 1-sided dice, but I don't know that that's going to be very much fun. Kind of abstractly impossible, isn't it? A 1-sided dice would be a point, and you can't roll a point, I don't think. So this would be a better way to do our module, because then you change your constants, you're good. You have whatever size of dice you want. Okay. I'm not going to give away any more, because the rest of it is stuff we have done.